and everybody opens up. Hellfires, the main guns, 50 cals, 240s, and we just smoked the shit out of this one area.
All right, welcome back to episode 25 of 11 Bang Gang. So we got Paul back for part 2 of Uncivilized Rebirth. So we left off on talking, we kind of finished up, we talked about your transition out of the military, like slightly, but I kind of wanted to go back to this ambush because you said we never finished talking about it. So was this the ambush that I ended up clipping and putting in the beginning, the one where you had the weight and you you were walking over to the in the gym?
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just kind of go through that chronologically. And I was so focused, like all of it was recorded in my brain. There's been times in life where I'm in a class or somebody's talking and that memory is not there, but this one is like there. So this particular day, we were in Uncivilized, Iraq, and we lived in a potato factory. And the other side of this like little bitty tiny compound, the Iraqi army lived. And those dudes could not be trusted whatsoever. Just cowards, straight cowards. And so this day I got a wild hair up my butt and I was like, I'm going to go work out. There's like a couple of dumbbells, one bench press, and it's just straight crap, but it's something. So I'm messing around and all of a sudden I hear stuff that sound like popcorn, just like pops and going off. It was like really low intensity and then it picked up in volume. And it hit me. I was like, this is incoming fire. Like this was like that first moment of like, this is legit. I've never been in this situation.
Oh, so this is the first like kind of it's really popping off kind of time this happened?
I would say this was the first like major engagement I'd ever been in. Like that I'd been in teeny tiny little bitty things here and there, and we all had, but this was the first that was a full on assault on our little potato factory. So I knew rounds were coming in and I was like, crap, I don't have my body armor. So I grab a 45-pound plate. I go into the corner of this little room and I squat down as small as I can to get behind it. I was like, I need some protection because there was such a volume of fire. I couldn't run outside then back into the bay where our living quarters were, which was just a big room with cots and tubs. So I'm sitting there and I don't know if I was scared or just fully like adrenaline pumping, but I was thinking and I was looking for solutions. So I realized this thing was too small. So I throw it down and I grab this like diamond plate steel that's on the ground. That's like a 3x6 piece, pretty big. So I pick it up, I squat down behind it. I was like, okay, a little more protection. And these Iraqi dudes, they're like wet cats running up, like trying to scoot up beside me. Like they're like scared as fuck, like looking at me. And I'm like, get your own protection, mother effer.
Are they in here like working out?
No, they just like to sneak around and watch Americans.
Oh, okay.
They're like, Siddiqui. They would come up and they're like, these dudes are like crafty. They'll like sit there talking to you and scoot over like, yeah. And they're like, before you know it, their hand is on your thigh and you didn't realize it. You're like, get your hand off. They're like, what? They're like, what? And it's like, no.
Which, by the way, I was in the gym this morning in the shop, and I knew we were recording this episode today, and I knew you were going to retell this story. And I looked down at a 45-pound plate, and I almost picked it up and squatted in front of it to see how psychotic that was. But I was like, nah. But it sounds big, but then when you look at it, you're like, "Oh, that's like a chest plate,
Yeah.
maybe." A little bit wider, but about as tall, as a sappy. I mean, that's it. Like, that's all you got. Not to
Yeah.
mention you get your damn fingers shot off. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's on. So I would just wait for the volume to decrease, because when it decreases, that means there's space for me to run and go get my gear. So I think I was behind that steel plate for like, I don't know, 30, 45 seconds, but it felt like an eternity. Like
Mhm,
every moment was just in slow motion, drawn out in fast motion, like at the same time.
mhm,
So I start sprinting around, just sprinting around. There was still incoming fire. And I go running into the main bay. So you like go into this huge main bay. It's like maybe 45 feet. Then about every 20 feet, there's a door on both sides. And the bay is like 30 by 20. And then when you get inside, it's even taller. It's like 30 by 30 by like 60.
mm,
And then it's like if you had a pole barn with rooms on the inside, it's just massive. So I run past these two dudes who are like oil paintings. They're looking outside. They're like, oh, and I run in smiling. I was like, yeah. And I freaking run into there, and I've never got my gear on faster. Like I got just in a fury, get it all on. And so one of our other elements was outside engaging the rooftops that
mm,
were engaging into our compound. And this is why, like, we never went green. We slept with our weapons red. And so I loaded up. And living with the Iraqi army, like, we had to lock up everything every night. So you couldn't have your shit loaded on your Humvee. Like, we had to go unlock it. And being up armor, you have to unlock it, crawl through the turret or something all around there. And there's all these radio systems and it's all tight. And they
oh,
had
yeah.
these extra gearboxes on the turret that didn't work. So it's all this crap in the way. And you had the handle, old school handle you crank to turn your turret. So we start to go out there and I'm like, hold up. On a couple of guys going to the gun trucks, I'm like, we need to space it out. Like, we need to space out going to the gun trucks. So it's like intervals. We're not bunched up. So we get loaded up on our gun trucks and we take off. And it's like a blur. Like, this part was a blur. Like, loading up on the gun truck, it's just like it happened.
Mhm,
And again, I think I'd talk this part. Like, we go out and we're sitting there waiting to go out our front gate, which was a broken 113. And that's how advanced we had it. And and this area, like, we were in a tough area. Like, where we're sitting, sometimes there'd be body bags laying out there for a couple of days. And this was like the staging area, which was just like a little parking lot in front of the front door of the potato factory.
mm.
So we're sitting there and the tankers are you can hear the tanks. You know how they have that whine when they get
Oh,
going,
yeah. Mhm,
and they're coming up, and we wanted to be the first ones out. We're just like freaking stoked, but it's just like full on adrenaline. So Lindsay was my gun truck. No, we all were on random trucks. Like, we weren't trying to keep
oh,
who went where.
you didn't even get in your own truck?
No, dude, we were just like, because we were at the point in time on our tour where lots of people were going on like rotation home for like a week,
Mm,
coming back. So we were all just kind of, but it's like when it's like such a rush, nobody gave a shit. Everybody
mhm,
knew how to gun. Everybody knew how to drive. Everybody knew how to do this. So it's like, you fucking get in where you fit in. But we were chalk two, and no, we were chalk one. Yeah, which was, different parts of a platoon carry more weight,
yeah,
you know? And it's like we carried a chunk of this. Um, so we're sitting there ready to go, and I'm like banging on Lindsay's seat. I was like, we gotta go because they're dropping mortars in also. and we're
Mhm.
just there. They have small arms fire coming in. They had RBKs, um, AKs. These dudes were in body armor. Um, and I'm like, we gotta go. And he's like, we're waiting on Lieutenant Edwards. I was like, oh, that makes sense, but I wasn't
Mm.
happy with it. And so Lieutenant Edwards was like 6'2" football player, like jacked, but like homegrown farmer jacked. Like
Mm.
one day he goes in the gym and he picks out like these 90s or hundos and he's like, "Phew," and this dude never worked out. We're like, freak. So he comes out there and he gets in, we get going. So freak. The we pull out and the tankers got out before us and I was like, crap, that sucks. But it turned out for a reason, like in the grand scheme of things of the universe, because there was this V bid that went off on this bridge to take out one of our routes.
Mm.
A few weeks earlier, we had caught a dude chronologically. It pretty sure it was before this. We caught a dude that had maps of our whole area, like insanely detailed, like with arrows showing our um, patrol routes and like all of our ins and outs and what we did. And so they knew, like they were carefully detailing our activity, but the cool thing was like we were winging it so much of the time. Like we were given so much autonomy, we didn't really repeat much
Right.
best we could. So that kept it very random. Like having no SOPs was good. So-
For once.
yeah. So, okay, so the tankers got out before us, but if we had gotten out before them, we would have gotten hit with like this RPG or these two V beds that were out there because they were taking out our routes basically to funnel us, which is kind
Yeah.
of scary. Um, and basically it was a free for all. Like it was a ghost town. Like everybody knew shit was going down. The dudes, the Iraqi army dudes would go in the guard towers sometimes, but that day they had all disappeared. They had all pulled back and hid. And I was like,
Wow.
you dudes knew what was about to happen.
Mhm.
So the tankers are out there before us and we're going around to like the back side of our compound area. I call it a compound. It was just like there was walls around every building there. And so
Mm.
the back side of this to this route called Route Sportster. And we're trying to basically flank and get around behind these dudes that were attacking us. And so it turned out it was like Humvee, tank, Humvee, tank, or it was a tank, 4 Humvees, and then a tank. But it was a pretty cool little thing going on there. So second chalk had gotten out there, but they got wrapped up in concertina wire on their Humvee, and like it just one of
Oh.
their vehicles was just it deadlines basically. It was all wrapped up, and they were just not in a fight.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, crap. Then what? One element. They stayed at the compound and they got outside and they're like, they're in the treetops, and they started shooting the treetops.
Oh,
Like
my.
they were on the buildings and dropping mortars. They weren't in the treetops.
Mhm.
So we had an element that was stuck in concertina wire, an element fighting the treetops, and we're going around to engage. And so we're going down Route Sportster and we're getting close. And somebody sees something in the woodline. We see some dudes out there. And so like everybody turns. And I've never seen Apaches show up on station faster than this. And I feel like tears are welling up right now because it was the best thing to have Apaches
Mhm.
when when you have that going on. So their response time had to been less than 5 minutes. Like those
Wow.
dudes were on it. And one of them was a female, which was so freaking hot. And
Yeah.
so that's no offense to anybody listening to this. I was just as a grunt then I was like,
Mm.
female pilot. And so we have 2 Apaches, 2 Abrams, and 4 gun trucks.
Mhm.
One of the gun trucks has a 50 cal, and the other ones are 240s.
Yeah.
And there's a section of wood line. We're all lined up. and we're stopped at this point on Route Sportster, and everybody opens up.
Nice.
Hellfires, the main guns, 50 cals, 240s, and we just fucking smoked the shit out of this one area.
Wow.
It was the badassest few moments, some of the badassest moments of my life is just like, fuck. Like
Yeah.
the tour before that, I had heard it. I think it's an what is it, AC 130 gunship overhead.
Yep.
It's like the doom, 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 like open up several times
Mhm.
to crit. And that was sweet. And I would be sitting there just being so thankful that we were on the same side, like in all sincerity, like hearing what the destruction was that was being rained down from that. I'm like, dude, we're on the same side. I'm so thankful for that. Fuck
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Air superiority is unmatched, by the US government. I mean, yeah, the Apaches, there was that whole thing where those guys fell in love with that C-130 chick. So I don't know if you ever heard that story.
No.
So, and I guess I'll go ahead and tease it. My next episode should be a C-130 pilot, and so I'll get him to give me the details on this. But anyway, there was a C-130 pilot, and there was a platoon or a company that got pinned in Iraq somewhere. I don't want to say it was during Fallujah. I don't remember when, but she kept them safe all night and talked to them, and and just kept the enemy at bay the whole night. And apparently the guys fell in love with her and they were like, and so for the rest of like eternity that everybody it talks about this female C-130 pilot. But yeah, so there it is. I mean, I want to say we had one my entire time, but most of them were dudes. But there was one that was British, and he was awesome because he would talk to you, and then he would call you on the sipper phone. I don't know if you ever seen a sipper phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he would call the COC on the sipper phone that night after he did airstrikes, and he'd come on, and I can't say a British accent, but he'd be like, "Hey, how was that shit, mate?" And like he was cool as shit, man. He was great. But yeah, so those guys they do work, man, and it's impressive when you get to see it all come. And then too, like you said, like you line up trucks like that. And I don't know, I'm assuming at that point you had probably seen the main gun on a tank go off previous to that. But if that was your first time, yeah, that's awesome too. Like watching a main round, a 155 go. It's pretty tight.
I think that was my first time.
Yeah, that
So
makes it even better.
yeah. Oh, so go back in time from this like 4 years. I was at Fort Rucker in
Mhm,
Alabama doing train up. And me and this other dude, Vaughn, had been in the President's 100, really squared away dude. I thought he was awesome. And I was a private. I didn't know any better. We just go driving around sometimes, just finding what stuff to get into. And so we ended up going out near, and Fort Rucker is an air base, basically, like helicopters and stuff like that. And it was nighttime and they were shooting Hellfire missiles. And
mm,
so we got to see that happen and like hear it. And for a kid, I was like, whoa.
yeah,
So here we were with main guns going off and all the other guns on the gun trucks. And then the the Apache pilots, they drop some Hellfire missiles. And this guy Steven, um, he was in, I don't know what gun truck in the row he was in, but he was in the turret that day. And this is his story. So it's like I'm telling a story. I have a story. Um, he was looking up and he said that one of them dropped down. You know how they drop down, then they take off?
mhm.
And he's like, this is how I go out. Because it was above him and the missile drops down and then it takes off. And so he's
Wow.
sitting there freaking watching it from below. And it's just like, hmm. It's like those
That's
moments you just fully accept your fate. But it's like, this is a badass way to go if I do go.
yeah.
Um, So we just light up that wood lawn like massively, and it was just like one epic experience that happened so fast.
Yeah.
So we keep going, and and we're just rolling along, just looking for anything to shoot because we were
Mhm.
shooting anything. We're just like, fuck all of y'all. Thou hast fucked up. We're raining down our shit. And we're going along, like creeping along slow enough where you could feel like you could jump out. And I wasn't in the turret that day. I was like, I want to be a fucking dismount.
Yeah.
Because I'd been in the turret for so long. And I would always volunteer to go on foot patrols because I loved it. Loved it. Like, there's some action in the turret. I got to shoot a lot, but I love being on foot out there in it like that. So I was always going out on extra little foot patrols and shit whenever I could. So this day, like I see these two dudes in this car and they jump out and they're in all black. And I'm like, fuck, ninjas. And so I'm like, when you have those moments when you're about to do something stupid and then you just hold back. But
Mhm.
everything in you is like, this is totally legitimate to do this. I almost jumped out and started running at him on my own. And I waited. I was like, nope. But I was like, fucking Lindsay, look over there. And so we all flank them basically and pull over there. And we light up this vehicle, just light it up. And we didn't go any closer because I was like, that might be a V-bed. Like, if
Oh, yeah.
we've already seen several V-beds in this fight, so we can't run up to it. I was like, Lindsay, let me fucking blow it up. I was like, I got an AT4. And he's like, go. And I was like, oh, it's like, I
Awesome.
just got fucking permission to use an AT4. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
So I grabbed that fucker and I go out there. And this is after I'd already engaged with like 2 mags. Like, I jumped
Mhm.
out and I was like engaging this vehicle. And I looked down and I had 2 mags at my feet and I didn't even know I reloaded. Like,
Wow.
that was something that later stuck with me of like training is so fucking important
Yeah.
because I didn't even fucking know I did that. It just
Second nature.
happened. I was like, thank you. So I was like, so I go get the AG4 off the Humvee. I don't know if it was in the back or strapped on the back. And I'm sitting over the hood. I like take the safety off, flip it up. It's like the front sight was broke. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna do the best I can. And like Lindsay and Impostado was driving and Lindsay was in the TC. And I see them for a second and they're both like this with just like these wide eyes, like, what the fuck's about to happen? And I clicked that fucking button and it clicked.
Oh, shit.
Oh, and I froze. I'm like, fuck, this is like, I remember in basic training, they told me it's like 11, like, for some reason, I thought it was like 11 pounds of explosives, but it's like in a chunk of explosives in there.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's right by my head and it didn't go off. I'm like, I'm about to die. Like, what the fuck do I do? So I was like, I ran it and I put it down. I was like, Lindsay, that thing, now we have an AT4 that might go off because we
Yeah.
didn't know what to do with that.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, now we have an AT4 about to go off. We just engaged these vehicles. We have fucking other shit going on a little bit. And by now there's a fog of war.
Yeah.
And I'd played this game when I was a kid called, not Age of Empires, but, I don't remember the name of it.
What's it, Redcon?
No, it's like where you're
Oh.
orcs fighting these knights, and it's like really old. World of Warcraft, the original,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
and it's like it's like he's like, "Oh me lord," it's like he talks to you, and if you click the sills too much, they blow up. And there was a fog of war, it was called,
Mhm.
and that's a. And as a kid, I was like, "What's fog of war?" But then as a older kid, I was like, "This shit's real. There's like a fog everywhere now."
Yeah.
Crazy. So there was this fog around and things had but died down by now. Like died down to where it's deathly silent. It was eerie. So we're like, what the fuck? Like we didn't know what to do. None of us
Mhm.
did. So the other chalk, everybody wanted to blow up the AG4 then. I had a grenade, but a staff sergeant, staff sergeants get to do the cool stuff a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of times. They're like, you gotta take the trash out. But when it comes time to the cool stuff, like, we're gonna do it. So this dude goes up and do it. I was like, "Man, that was mine." But I didn't argue. I was just my heart was hurt. I didn't
Yeah.
put a grenade on it. So he went over there and blew it up so the enemy couldn't use it. Later, this dude that had what was his name? I don't remember his name right now, but he had been in the 101st. Is I call me and this guy Hammond. ragged them so much. We're like 101, like make them so mad, like because oh, once I saw active duty, like they were so embarrassing, just
Oh, yeah.
pathetic. And yeah, they could outrun me, sure, but like functionally, operationally, to be like fluid, no. Um, so that was kind of it. Just kind of wrapped up, and we kind of checked things out, and we just slowly made our way back. We went and checked out a few houses, and we realized there's nobody over here.
Mhm.
And it was cool. Some of the tankers had snuck in with us, jumped on our gun truck because they wanted to get some.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah,
Um, this other guy, Moore, Patrick Moore, he jumped in with us. The
nice.
other dudes that were shooting the tree chops, he came in, got in with us. I was like, Pat, badass, bro. And like he later became a first sergeant and stuff. And
Oh, wow.
and he was a private when he on my second tour, he's a private. And then he like
Man.
just smoked me in rank. I was like, oh, I was so proud of him though. I was like, bro, you came out here when everybody else was avoiding coming out here.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but some people avoid conflict.
Oh, yeah. No, it's like that with everything. I mean, and I've seen it. I know every guy's seen it. There's always people who are hesitant to jump on this is React, we're rocking and rolling, you know?
Yeah.
And, but good on him for doing that.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
do they so yeah, it's called UXO. I've been sitting here thinking about it. If an AT4, if anything doesn't blow up, it's called UXO,
The unexploded ordnance.
unexploded ordnance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking about it because I don't think that's ever happened. Like, I never seen a rocket not go off, but I have seen a 203 not go off, and but that was in training. We had to throw it in the UXO pile. But, yeah, dude, that's crazy, and that sucks that you didn't get to shoot the AT4. That blows.
I haven't
Yeah.
thought of UXO in so many years. I had a UXO in my hand. And,
Yeah.
that yeah, like, I wanted to blow that car up so
Man.
bad, and I thought I was gonna die, though, like, it was a sickening moment when it clicked,
Yeah, yeah.
because I was like, "This thing's, like, right freaking here," but
Oh, what
it
do
just
you know, there's all them videos of, like, the live leaks where the Russians, like, are shooting or even the Middle Eastern dudes are shooting, like, cheap Russian RPGs, and they just blow up and blow the dude's head off, and you're just like, "Yeah." I think ours are built a little bit better to where if it's not gonna go, it's not gonna go, but the broken sight should have been your indication that that thing had been roughed up, but, it is what it is.
I was in the moment, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's
I
pretty
had to do
tight
what I was
though,
gonna do.
man. Like that's a hot thing. And like our problem was with tanks is I think you talked about this on the first part. Oh, by the way, if anybody's made this 28 minutes in and they're like, "What the fuck?" This is his second time being on the podcast. So if you haven't listened to the first episode, go listen to the first episode. So now that I've said that, okay, so you might have said this, but they were always watching you. I mean, that they always had like spotters, people on cell phones. Anytime you left the wire, they knew. And so our thing was is if like we ever started to get in it, if we sent the tanks outside the wire, the firefight would just fucking end. Like it didn't matter if somebody was engaged 5 clicks away, like it would wrap up because they were like, "Hey, the tanks are on the way," and the guys would be like, "Yeah, fuck that, bro." Like, so
But I don't know if it was that was the case with us. There was one day when, we were just I don't know what we were doing. We did so many presence patrols and
yeah,
stuff all the time, but we were always gonna get into something, like, literally. We got stuck in this mud field, most of our Humvees stuck. It's like, "Crap." And so we had to call the tankers, like, "Come pull us out."
yeah.
So, on their way, they had been watching us, and they set up an ambush for the tanks. So, as
Wow.
they're over this rise, and then you hear an ID go off, and we're like, "Fuck." Because
Yeah.
they had the capacity to take out Abrams. We had one that would they get their tracks jacked up. One of them
Mhm.
had the turret was down, and so there was dead Abrams there, and we're like, "Can't even trust those," because
Yeah.
whatever level of defense we had, they would just raise their level of offense.
Yeah.
So by the time we left, the IEDs were like the craters they would leave in the road were like the size of hot tubs,
Wow.
and they would rip an upper armor in half. Um,
Yeah.
we had a lot of med backs, get guys getting all jacked up. Uh, yeah, so it
Oh,
was
I mean, even by the time you get to Afghanistan in 2011, the MRAPs wasn't impenetrable. I mean, and I think they could take up to an 80-pound IED. But the difference between like the combat zones for the guys listening that never went to Iraq, the way I understand it, talking to a bunch of you guys, is there's no freedom of movement. Yeah, because it's a city or it's not a rural area. Whereas our tanks could be like, okay, we're gonna go out here across this field and we're gonna flank them, which wasn't always the case, depending on the season, if it was the wet season, depending on whether there was a farmer's field there. Yeah. And they still set ambushes, but, like, the city is just not the fucking place to fight a war. It's just not.
I will say this, like, it is the place, obviously, because it's
Oh,
not
yeah, but,
like
like, it's not the prime place you want to be fighting, you know what I'm saying? There's just too much going
and
on.
in saying that, like, I agree with you, but it was like but they choose, like, this is a good place to hold.
Oh, yeah.
Um, like, for difficulty, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good place.
yeah.
And yeah, the tankers, we didn't have a lot of room to maneuver.
Mhm.
Um, we did the best we could, but, it was like a rural town, still a lot of not aqueducts, but all these, like, big, huge trench things with water running in it. It's like you literally can't drive through it. Your Humvee will disappear into it. That happened with the 101st when they replaced us. They were going along, you're supposed to, like, call up the last gun truck making the turn. Didn't call up, didn't call up, didn't call up, and their last gun truck just went off in one of these things and totally disappeared, and everybody died in it. They they took so many casualties after we left. I don't know if I get into that on the last podcast, but
Nah, I don't think you did.
they were combat ineffective within a month or so.
Wow.
Somebody burnt down their the main building we had lived in that they replaced us in, that got burnt down.
Man.
One night they had dudes like on foot patrol, they got all jacked up. They stole a bongo truck, start running it back in, driving it back in, they get it shot up with the dudes on it. They had they had guys coming in on a Humvee, and dude on their guard tower shot up the Humvee. Um,
Man.
the dude, Sergeant Nelson, and he was a squad leader, and his alpha team leader, they were right seat riding with us. They came in like 2 weeks early, and they were cool. They didn't really listen to us because, like, he got killed a few weeks later. We heard about it. They were doing the hasty TCP, and they let this dude just walk right up in the middle of him, pulls out a gun, pop 2 guys in the head.
Man.
Um, they were losing dudes right and left. They were combat effective. It's like they ignored everything that we told them and every warning.
Recently I talked to somebody that I really trust, like I really trust. And I haven't talked to this guy in a long time. And this dude did like 15 combat deployments. And then he worked in like training. So he had done combat deployments all the way from the time I went to Afghanistan all the way back to like the initial invasion in Iraq. I mean, like them all. And been with multiple different units. And it was crazy to hear him talk about, like, now that he's a civilian, talk about how units vary wildly, like, wildly, and, like, units you wouldn't expect, like, units that you're like, "Oh, yeah, they're squared away." But then, like, he'll be like, the leadership makes a huge difference, but the problem is, like, you don't always know, like, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, "I'm not simping for any units I've been in." He's like, "I've been in some bad units too, but, like, it was wild."
It's like you can
Um,
look oh, sorry, I talked over you.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
You can look good near the flagpole,
Yeah.
and you follow all those rules and instructions, like, "Oh, man, they're squared away," but when it comes down to the real deal, like, that really takes the veil off. It's like, do you got it
Hmm.
or you don't, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for me, the National Guard, the unit what I was with, we were amazing.
Yeah.
And active duty fucked it up.
Yeah. Well, too, it's like you don't always know because like I thought my unit just did okay. And he was like, "Oh no, dude, that unit was superb." And I was like, "Okay," but like, yeah, you don't want to toot your own horn and be like, "Yeah, I was with the best, one of the best combat units." But then like, and I've heard guys say that they were with the shitty unit. I've had guys on here that are like, "Dude, this person sucked, that person sucked," and I'm just like, that sucks, especially when you're a boot and you've never been to combat. Like, you did multiple tours, so you kind of had a jive or a feel for what felt good and what didn't. Like, whereas like me, I only did one. So I don't know whether I with a shitty unit or good. You know what I mean? Like, I did a
Yeah.
Mew with the unit, but that was a booze cruise, right? So like, you kind of had you had some experience, so to speak. That you were like, yeah, this is good or bad. So. But anyway, okay, so we got to get to this. We already talked about on the last episode when you got out, and I want to leave enough time to get through this. So I'm going to kind of if you want to kind of touch on that a little bit, but I really want to hear about the whole when you went to the shooting instructor school. Oh yeah, that's where we left off. So the question is when you went to the shooting instructor course, you talked about how like you didn't even feel like after you heard some of those guys' stories, you were like, I didn't even feel like I did anything after hearing those guys' stories. And then I feel that, brother. I feel that. I've been there. But at the same time, I wanna know because this recently happened to me, where I was with a lot of people that I really respected, and I was like, "These guys are way better than me. I've never done anything compared to some of these other dudes, but they still accepted me as a brother." And that right there, I wanna know whether and I get it, you're not special forces, you're just there as an instructor, but I wanna know, like, did they still give you that mutual respect?
Just for clarity, I was an instructor.
Oh,
I was a
oh, shit.
I was a pu
Sorry, my
Oh,
paper had
that's
it
okay.
wrong.
That's okay. I just did support that work there, which
Right,
was
you just work there. Yeah,
but in my heart, that was still a very important job because I was supporting something very crucial.
yeah,
Um, and so, like, some of them looked at me like I was a Neanderthal and treat me less than human.
yeah,
Some of them, the senior guys who were just seasoned,
mhm,
they were they were kind to me. They would teach me. They would teach me how to shoot. They would talk to me about stuff. They would basically mentor me. Um, Not in a like, we're gonna come over every night and powwow. It's just like
yeah,
when they spoke, I fucking listened
yeah,
and I would sit in on their classes. So there were some of them who were just they're they were these apex killers, you know.
mhm,
Um, Somebody put it really good a few years back, and I was like, ooh, it's like some of them are psychopaths, but they're just disciplined. And the military is like, we got a psychopath. Let's keep them reined in and aim them
yeah,
where we need them. And
yeah,
I met some of those. They're scary as fuck. Like
yeah,
literally, you're like, hmm. You have this palpable energy of they may kill you, literally, and you can feel it. You know, and you're in a situation of like, huh, this dude could kill me. Like literally, there's really hardly anything pulling holding him back because like these dudes were deploying. They're working with Blackwater, all these other uh, companies, and they're deploying with their own units, and they're rotating in and out all the time, and they're just totally amped up.
mhm,
and some of them like as the war slacked off, not as much, but like 2008, 2009 time frame was when it was like really intense. These dudes were fucking, and then after that, it slacked off.
Mhm.
But yeah, like some of them were very fucking awesome to me, and they treated him as a human, and they saw that I had a desire to learn, and so they responded to that well.
Mm.
Um, and what's cool is like there was Subucks also, and which was like that course is like the special forces course, or what's it called? I forgot the name of it. Damn it, it's been years. But there's a course where the team guys would go through to get qualified or whatever for the year or before deployment. And then they had a watered down version for 20th group support people.
Mm.
So there was times where they would let me on the range and instruct weapon stuff. And I was like, like I took that very seriously because I would sit there and we'd be on the range and these dudes would sit out there teaching classes.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity just to sit there and start listening. And it took me a couple of years to realize that I needed to listen. But when I did, I really did. And I started hearing their stories, hear the things they would teach. And I'm like, I'm a grunt. And I'd apply it to myself. I'm like, there is a Titan talking. Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after hearing their stories, I stopped wearing my shit. I was like, nope, not around y'all. It's
Yeah.
like a joke.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about, that the group of guys, I mean, it's it's I do this podcast, I find you guys because we're the ones who executed the war, regardless of of what anybody from special operations says, they would not have had the freedom of movement and the ability to do what they did best, which was night raids, targeted, raids and stuff like that. They wouldn't have been able to do that if we didn't keep the battle space tamed,
Yep.
and that in and out living and, but what they are good at, they are excellent at. Everybody from special operations is the best of the best, and there's a reason for that. But unfortunately, it takes too many people to tame a battle space, so we have to get some lesser thans, as you probably know in the line companies. And we can't train like that. We just can't. We can't operate like that. But it's really cool to see it. I've worked with a few guys over the course of some time, and there's some true professionals, but some of them are also complete douchebags. And they're complete douchebags because they think they're hot shit. But honestly, it takes that narcissistic kind of person to do that job, right? There's a little bit of narcissism, a little bit of I'm the fucking man and you're going to kneel, attitude that they kind of got to have. It's that alpha attitude, but they're true killers, and like you said, I mean, some of them are tamed psychopaths. They are, and there's no doubt in my mind that that's true, which makes them terrible after they leave the military. And they usually have terrible home lives. They're usually guys who physically or verbally assault people or their loved ones. I've seen it time and time again. But the problem is it's the op tempo too that does that, because there's even line company guys. I'm sure you know some guys that have done some less than honorable character things to their loved ones, and yeah. So, but that's just, that's part of it. Okay, so you had that injury. That's when you ended up getting sent to work at that shooting center. So, when you medically retired, did you already have this transverse myelitis, or was this something that ended up happening post military?
Um, and again, just for clarity, when I went to the shooting school, I was just deep in alcoholism and lost.
Oh, that's right.
And so,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't even let me deploy again. I was trying to get on a fourth tour and they're like, nope.
That's
and you're
right.
done. And so,
That's right. Yeah.
um, it was a good place to put somebody that was a little bit dangerous,
Mhm.
that's drunk all the time.
Yeah.
Um, so the disease was it kicked in while we were in training at Camp Shelby, Mississippi. I'd reclassed to combat medic. I was doing that. I was in an airborne slot. I
Mhm.
transferred to the 20th Special Forces Support Battalion, and they stood up a medical company. I was like, "Ooh, I want to be a combat medic." So I did that. It was awesome, but I couldn't run fast enough. I could never, ever get my run time down to pass airborne standards. So I told my first sergeant, I was like, "Hey, man, I'm going to switch units because I'm holding up this slot for somebody.
Yeah.
It's not the right thing for me to do." They would have let me sit there for years. They would have done whatever it took and pushed because you can shuffle paperwork. I was a good medic. Um, but I left. I picked up my six, and just a few months later, we were at summer training, Camp Shelby, Mississippi, and it started feeling like I was walking on gravel, just painful. But I didn't tell anybody. And then that feeling of numbness just moved up my legs over the course of like a week and a half. And it finally got to my core and my arm where I could barely stand up, like I was just wobbling. And the last morning, and this is still emotional because I loved wearing the uniform. Like it
Mhm.
was my heart. Like I was married to it. My first wife told me that. She's like, "I feel like you're cheating on me. Like you love it more than me." And in my heart, I was like, "I made the oath before you."
Mhm.
And that's the way I saw it. And so the last morning I put on the uniform, I could barely stand and I was shaving. I was leaning against the sink in the latrine, like shaving, and I was just wobbling around. I could barely walk, and I walked out of the barracks. I had my gear on, and the platoon sergeant was just like shaking his head at me. And he's like, "Go to sit call." And I'd never, and I was a squad leader, and like I really loved my having a squad. Like I learned so much working with at that shooting school and leadership wise and those guys, and like I'd learned to like love people because
Mhm.
one of the good Green Berets, like those dudes love people and their teachers,
Mhm.
and they befriend everybody because that's one of the goals. Is like I need to make friends with everybody
Right.
because I might need to turn everybody against somebody. And
Yeah.
so some of them had just changed my life fundamentally as a soldier. And I was bringing that to the table as best I could here in the infantry. And so I couldn't go to training that day. And it was like when you do like train up for your main training event.
Yeah.
And that day was a main training event and I couldn't go with my guys.
Mhm.
And I was told to go to sick call and I had I was a staff sergeant. I was in good shape. I was fit and but my legs were fucked up and I had this tear roll down my face and I was trying to hide it so bad because it killed me to tell me like I couldn't.
Mhm.
So go to the TMC or the field medics, go to them, and they didn't know what the F was up. So they sent me to the TMC, and then from the TMC, it was like base medic, battalion medic, TMC, and then the hospital. Because the
Mhm.
place was like, don't know, don't know, don't know. So they wheel me into Forest General in Hattiesburg, Mississippi in a wheelchair. And I'm in my uniform, just like trying to be stoic, but like I'm going paralyzed and trying to act cool. And they wheel me in to this hospital, little room, a waiting room. And there was a medic with me. I forgot his name, but like I started tearing up and I was holding his hand. I was like, dude, I'm scared
Mhm.
because going paralyzed is fucking scary.
Oh, yeah.
Like losing your ability to walk. And so that, like, started, like, a 6-month long, like, hell. It was I had swelling in my spinal cord from C1 to C5, so that fucked up my spinal cord.
Mhm.
Um, then I had all this fucking nerve pain. I would have migraines. I would have, like, spasms. Legs weren't working, just immobilized. The doctors didn't know what was going on back and forth. They're like, "Is it Guillain-Barré?" They finally got it transverse myelitis. I get sent to a specialty clinic in Birmingham, Alabama at UAB for transverse myelitis, like 1 of 3 in the nation, which was like a miracle.
Wow.
And so they started doing intensive treatment and started getting me in rehab. And like every day it was like working on walk it again. And the PT, he was like, "What do you want to do today, Mr. Miller?" And I was just like, "Walk." That's all I'd
Okay,
say is
I do gotta ask a question here before we kinda get into the PT. What is the cause? Well, okay, I guess 2 questions. 1, what is transverse myelitis? Because I don't know, and I guarantee you none of the listeners know. And number 2, what is the cause of it, or what was it in your case? I'm not sure of it.
so transverse myelitis, transverse means across. So it
Okay,
means there's a swelling across. Like, so here's your spinal cord is like a circle, let's say,
right.
and then there's a swelling all the way across inside of it. So
Mm,
all of the nerves running through it are getting smashed. So this
right.
swelling just smashes your your nerves running through there. And as I'm talking about this, I'm bringing up memories, so I'm like pausing. It's like painful as fuck memories,
Yeah.
and so but this is good to process. This was like a decade ago anyway, and there's no telling what is the cause of it at all.
Wow.
Um, only about 1,400 people a year get it. This was back in 2015, and I was the lucky lottery winner on that. Um,
Man.
I'm actually next week. I'm going to be on this like board talking with the VA about it,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, it's. I think it's opening a doorway, hopefully. But
Yeah.
I have theories about it. Um, and a year after I was diagnosed with that, and I got walking again and all that, like a little over a year later.
Okay, so how long did it take to walk again? And what was like, how hard was that? I mean, did it so I'm assuming that the swelling happened and then it went away. And so for those of you sciatic pain dudes that suffer that with me, it's like, you get that flare up and that almost God, it almost makes it to where you can't hardly move a leg, shoots down your leg. So we're talking all the nerves though. Like we're talking all of them in the spinal cord. So yeah,
Every
like it just went oh dang, sorry. It just went away?
um, they like not everybody gets to walk again and gets
Right.
their mobility back.
Wow.
But thankfully the swelling went down. But the thing is, the swelling damages the nerves.
Oh,
And so the way they explained it to me is like there's potholes now on your nerves running up and down, and it's like
dang.
angel hair going through there. So it's so fine. All those little things, the nerves or whatever, they're like strings running through there. So that
Right.
swelling just crushes them and
Yeah.
damages them. And there's nothing you can do except just endure the ride. Like it's literally like my concept of pain and my concept of pain totally changed.
Wow.
Pain, I became intimately knowledgeable about pain at the
Wow.
deepest level of something you literally can't escape. And my threshold for pain was totally adjusted after that.
That's insane. Has that were you on any kinda I mean, were they giving you any painkillers for this?
They had me on IVIG, which is a strong anti-inflammatory steroid,
Right.
and that was to reduce inflammation. That helped. And they had me on pain meds. Like one time when I went back in the hospital, I was all fucked up. They didn't know what was wrong with me yet. They had me on morphine every 2 hours for, like, over a week,
Good God. That's
and
insane.
I would beg the nurses, I'm like, "Please do a slow push," because they'd come in there, the night nurses, and do their job and get out,
Right.
and a slow push is gentle, but
Mhm.
if you push morphine fast, your whole system just, like, everything at once, and I would ask
Oh,
for a slow push, and they're like, "Phoop," and during this week, they had me on an anti-inflammatory that made my body retain water weight. So I went from, like, 183 to 2 about 225 in the course of a week or 2. Like,
good.
I blew up. They didn't know what to do with me. It was like I felt like I was an experiment. Um,
Holy shit.
I had 2 spinal taps done, which spinal taps suck because 'cause they're sticking a fucking needle in your spine,
Yeah.
and you hear this thunk when it goes in, and I was laying there, and I had it done one time in the military too. I hated spinal taps. Hated it, because it's so fucking scary.
Right.
Uh, I'm kinda jumping all over the place here and there.
No, 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 you're good. So when you go to PT, what's the process of learning to walk again? How long does that take?
Depends on your will.
Well, I'm talking about in your particular case, but I understand that.
It was about I'd already started some PT and OT, and I had, like, some movement going on, but I was, like, determined, and so, like, I got to the point where I would tell my leg to do something, and it would just shoot over here or
Oh,
shoot over there, and, like, this arm, if I'd try to touch and they're like, "Alright, finger to nose," it'd be like
wow.
so my shit wouldn't go in the right place whatsoever, and my core wasn't activating. Um, so it was about 3 weeks intense, like, every day, sometimes twice a day, and I
Wow.
fully engaged with that. Like, I gave it everything I could, um, and I got to the point of being in a walker because I fucking hate being in a wheelchair with every ounce of my being.
Yeah.
I fucking despise it, and that drive of hate got me on my feet again because I
Mm,
refused to fucking be stuck in a wheelchair. And I got back on a walker, get back home after like 3 weeks or 4 weeks of very intense physical therapy. And, and it was another 6 months of PT and OT. Like it wasn't just home and good. Like it was home and like now the fucking battle continues. Like,
right.
and I was fucking determined. Started smoking weed again, and that was amazing. Like the best thing ever for it. But like, I remember the first day home from the hospital, I smoked like a little bit of a joint. I smoked a little bit, and I got on my walker and I walked 1/3 of a mile around my neighborhood, and then
Oh
I
my
did 5 push-ups, and I was like, "Fuck this." It's like I would tell myself, "Never give up, never surrender."
Okay, so I gotta ask this because I just I just pulled my questions out and actually read the outline.
Oh, my
Okay,
bad.
no, you're good. So I assume that the combat it would more than one dude on here has described that when it's time to go in combat, it's time to go. And you described that on the last episode. I'm hoping this is 3 for 3 that I'm right because I've been wrong twice. But on the last episode, you talked about how that last deployment you wanted was just you were like, this is going to be the end. Like this is my checkout deployment. So we don't always, once you get combat, you're like it. So how was that compared to this? I mean, not being able to walk, I would take getting checked out of combat or getting waxed in a firefight all day long before I'd want to spend the rest of my life in a wheelchair. I'm like, take me out, dude. So I'm assuming that like this was worse in a sense than being in Iraq, when you were going through that transverse myelitis.
It was like my body was a prison,
Yeah.
and my my will kicked in like no other. It was strange. It's like it was made. I don't know. It was like this weird relationship I had with it. It's like you got me.
Yeah.
It's like you got the wrong person, motherfucker. I'm gonna fuck
Yeah.
you up. And
Hell
that's
yeah.
the way I viewed it. It's like
Yeah.
I was a soldier and it's like, I'm gonna fucking fight you with every ounce of my being.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was like, yeah, my third tour, like I was hoping to die.
Yeah.
I was ready to be done with life. I was like, cool. But this made me engage with life. It was like, ooh, I want to fucking fight you. I was like, yes, because I had kids by now. And it's like, ooh, there's the drive of the lifetime.
Yeah. So, oh, yeah. Ooh, great. Yeah. I forgot about that. So, you had kids. Did you have kids with your first wife?
No, did not.
Okay. So, this second marriage, you've got kids. During all this, I'm assuming they're with you, they're in the hospital, they're around you. I mean, that had to have been fucking stressful because like every time like one of my kids, without going into detail, I've dealt with some medical issues within the family, but it's always someone else. And so I'm like, I can fix this, right? Because I'm still good. But I could never imagine a time when I'm the one that everyone is like, "Are you okay?" Because that's never me. It's not supposed to be me, right? You're the
Yeah.
man. You're not supposed to be in that position. You're supposed to lead the household. And then my second question is, when did they medically retire you during this time, or did they wait till like all this was fixed and then you got medically retired?
They medical retired me like after I got back home from the hospital and while I was doing like still like continued OT and PT,
Therapy.
and
Yeah.
I was in a med board and
Mm,
they just put me on active duty orders while I was at home, and then went through the med board and they retired me through that.
right.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, no ceremony, just bye bye. Here's a piece of mail. Like, yeah, that was awesome.
Ain't that a bitch, dude? Yeah. So, I mean, so you said smoking helped you. I can imagine that. I mean, so once you got medically retired, like what'd you do? I mean, you don't. I mean, I'm not saying you did need money, but it's somewhat of a living wage. I mean, what'd you do after that? How long did it take before you were like, okay, oh, and then alcoholism and PTSD. Where is that right now?
Oh, now currently,
No, 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 no. Like during this time when you get back home from the hospital, you're on the walker or whatever, you're rehabilitating. I mean, I'm assuming you had to take a break from drinking when you were in the hospital.
I had stopped drinking.
Oh,
Um,
previous.
bit previously when I started smoking weed, like I was still in service. I was working at the
Mm,
school when I started smoking weed, and that mellowed me out. And like I just kind of lost a desire for drinking. And it's like I only want to smoke weed. I would.
wow.
There was a time when I was instructing at this other school, which was like just regular line units and stuff, and or support units, just
Mhm.
getting them mobed up to deploy. And I'd get up about 3:30 in the morning and I would drive to Fort McClellan from home and I would smoke a joint or I'd hit a pinch hit. Yeah, I think it was a pinch hit or a bowl. And dude, I would drive in and I'd put in my eye drop, teach classes, and they loved me. And I was like, when I was high, like I could access all my data and I could
Yeah.
be very focused and I could just, my words flowed miraculously.
Yeah.
And I would do PT high, and it's like, I'm gonna live life high as much as possible. I would, be like, "Hey," I'd be like, tell a residence NCO, I was like, "Um, I can't pass." And he's like, "Don't worry, you're fine." And I would get into the right circle, and they would get to know me, and then my urine tests would always disappear.
God, you're a lucky son of a bitch, man.
I would
Holy
I
shit.
would just get to know the right people, and they knew that I wanted to be a soldier, and that I
Yeah.
was bringing my best, and I would kill if I needed to or whatever. That's not to be that sounds so
Oh,
fucking cheesy.
no, dude. I recently found out, talking to some people from my old unit, that, like, there were so many people on drugs that they were letting stuff slide, dudes on TRT that they wasn't, like, doing their piss, and I'm like, "Bro, why wasn't I in this fucking cool kids club?" Like, you just had to know the right people, I guess.
It's like
So
when you know,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
and
right,
if I believe that I was valuable enough that they allowed that. They're like, "Oh,"
right.
it's like, you can kinda do what you want while you're still do what you need to do.
Yeah, it's like big
Um,
boy rules, man.
I would be standing in line for stuff like signing in stuff to start, like, a new course or whatever. Like, when you go somewhere and it's like everybody's gotta sign in to all this shit, I
Mhm.
was standing in line looking at this thing on the wall that's talking about urine tests and marijuana, and I'm high in uniform, like, I was like, "I wonder if they're gonna get me this time." I don't know.
I c I
I'll
could
put it up there.
only I could only imagine that, man, like, cause like, I never tried it till I got out, and so, like, I'd never done it growing up, so, like but now, like, it did the same thing for me, man. I was severely hampered with alcoholism when I got out, but, like, once I, and I still don't even smoke a lot, but, like, it was just a little bit, man, like, every day in the evening time, chill out, hit it once or twice, that was all it took for me. I didn't need to smoke a joint, because
Yeah,
I had no tolerance, and so, like
a
but
joint is
that
a
shit
waste.
saved me.
It Dude, it carried me through some rough times,
Yeah,
rough times. Um,
yeah.
and then after my divorce, it carried me through that. Like, life was fucking horrible. My wife left with the kids. I was like, "You're gone? I'm smoking weed."
So,
But
when was that? Was that your first wife or your second?
second wife,
Okay, so when did that
2020.
happen?
2020 during the
Okay, so
lockdowns.
2020, she was like, "I'm out."
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah. With the kids, like, she made it look like I was unhinged, that I was
Yeah.
gonna run away with the kids. She on the A lawyer can write up stuff that sounds really scary. That's
Oh,
a
yeah.
lie.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be based in anything.
Yeah.
And if the judge sees that and he feels it's scary enough, takes your kids away.
Dude,
They don't give a fuck.
the guy on my last podcast, other than a long time ago, I had a guest that his wife flew out of the country and left their kids at home, and she was going on vacation. That was a national news story. Anyway, other than him, my last guest, he's the only person I know that has custody of both his kids. But he said that the only reason is because the one girl or both of them really didn't wanna be parents. But, like, if a mom wants to fight you, the chances of a dad getting full custody is slim and none, man.
Oh, yeah. Like, it is rare for dads to get it. The
Yeah.
mom has to be, like, on recording, snorting cocaine, shooting
Yeah.
somebody in the head, and then the judge will be like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
It's like the judge is like, You are the mom." And she's
Oh,
like,
no, dude. The guy whose wife flew out of the country and left her kids in her apartment and had the nanny checking on them once a day, still got visitation rights back after she did that.
"She's the woman."
I
Uh,
couldn't believe that. I was like, "What?" Anyway, finally, he did get that handle, but okay, so I'm assuming that after in 2020, after she leaves you, things are not going well. So give us the lead up into the 2022 spiritual awakening thing and kind of like what led to that.
oh, man. So, the marriage ended, she left,
Hmm.
took the kids, took, like, 9 months to get them back. I had to go to a supervised visitation 2 hours every 2 weeks like I was some monster with a lady taking notes at a government facility to see my kids, and I had to pay for it. And I finally get the kids back. I had to sell the house, had to pay her $30,000, had to start paying child support, had to get another
Damn.
house. I was homeless for a couple of weeks, living in a hotel, like desperately trying to close on the house I live in now. Um, and I was in chaos. I'd started at college. When she left, I was like, I got to do something.
Mhm.
So I started college. I started like a contracting business where I was contracting out my labor. It was just a
Mhm.
way to hide money from her. I had a business accounts open so I could do all that separate so she couldn't see it. Um, and then I opened up another business selling portable buildings and did that for like 2 years. But I went into like combat mode. I fully switched back on soldier side and I was like getting up at 3:30 in the morning, training as hard as I could, fucking um trying to do everything I needed to do. You know, got a house that was built in 1953, like, and I didn't know what I was chasing. I was just fucking going out of
Mhm.
desperation. It's like I had to do something.
Right.
But like everything in my life would end. Like everything ended. Like every 2 years, there's some type of collapse, like marriage collapsing, disease. Oh, you're good there. Here's a second disease, MS. I was diagnosed with that also.
Oh,
Um,
shit.
yeah, dude. Like 2 years after the transverse, I was diagnosed with MS. And that comes with a whole different set of shit. PTSD, childhood trauma, like repressed memories, like a large percentage of my childhood is blacked out. So it's like I'm used to chaos. When things go fucking crazy, I'm just like focused. I'm like, I'm gonna pick something to do. I'm gonna fucking go all in.
Mhm.
I don't know what the fuck is gonna do, but I'm gonna go. And everything was just collapsing and collapsing. And I was just desperate internally because religion had let me down. All these people that were Christians had just fucked my life over hardcore. And finally, I was like, fuck religion. I'm not doing Christianity anymore because you people have literally fucked my life over. And if y'all were following Jesus and Christians like you say you are, it seems like you'd be loving. But all my prayers never were answered. It's like if prayer were real, like something would have happened in my life, you know?
Mm.
So it basically started when I was like just spinning my wheels, like training as hard as I could, trying to run a business, trying to do college, trying to be a dad, trying to remodel a house all alone.
Mm.
Um, except me and marijuana. No, so um so basically I was like, I don't believe in Christianity. I don't believe there's a God. Prove it to me. I believe there's a creator. But I never had thought the differentiation of like, there's like Yahweh God, there's like different deities, and like, then like, what if there's an overarching creator and lower level entities that set themselves up as gods? And so I was like, I'm done with it. And I started actually seeking for once, not just doing what everybody was telling me. I was like, if you're there, creator, let me know. Um, and sure enough, like I started having these supernatural events happen in my life for 3 months straight, just nonstop, day in, day out, over and over and over. And honestly, like, there's another podcast where I went into all the detail,
Mhm.
but it was so much detail. One of the dudes stopped contacting me because it was obviously just like he thinks I was full of shit. And he stopped talking to me. At first, we were like friends. I was like, all right, you want it? I'm going to tell you. And I have to stay grounded in what I share now because people will view me as completely full of shit. But the supernatural doesn't have a place to register in somebody's brain that hasn't experienced it and doesn't believe it. So for 3 months, for lack of better words, I was having visions. I was experiencing my past lives, like reincarnation. I was having visions of the future. I was experiencing energy inside of me. Like I could feel these massive waves of energy just like bellowing through me like the ocean. So I was like being opened up to the concept of energy and being able to experience it and feel it, to what time was, what life really is, um, past lives. I had visions of my future. Um, I started, you know what mudras are? It's like these different things that you can do, and like if you ever research that, like, um, and I would be in meditation. I'd just my hands would go up. I'd start doing all these mudras and just all these different things going around. And I just allowed it. I didn't fight it. I was like, for once in my life is getting badass from me. I was
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
and and during this time, I lost all my friends. I lost my military contacts because I knew I wasn't going crazy, but I knew I was experiencing something totally outside the realm of normal. And so I wanted to talk to somebody to be like, hey, you know, when you have a flat tire or your weapon jams or you have a double feed and you're like, hey, Sergeant so and so, what do I do here? Like, oh, here, you do this, blah, blah, blah. That's what I was
Yeah.
looking for. I was looking for somebody to be like, okay, this is what's happening. Do this.
Right.
But nobody knew what was happening. Like, I contacted a commandant that I'd known before. I contacted like this dude that was my mentor at the time. He was a long tabber, pretty cool. And I left him a ton of messages on his phone. He probably thought I was insane. I'd be telling him what I was experiencing.
He probably thought you were high as fuck.
Probably. Um,
So, you don't you don't listen to social media, do you?
what, like news or like
Other podcasts.
a little bit? Yeah, I'm
Okay.
very picky about what I listen
I
to.
I'm picky too. I started being picky recently. I used to listen to everything, and now I've started to really hone it back. But anyway, people can think what they want to think. I don't really care. So Rogan, 2 episodes ago, I want to say it was I think it was 2 episodes ago, talked to a lady who she is trying to mesh her esoteric experiences that she has experienced with modern science, about how that there is a relationship between the quantum level of information. She thinks that there is a substrate of information that we can't access. And she talks about how she works with autistic kids who are nonverbal. And she said that what they have noticed is, and this is science. Now, I'm allegedly saying this, so if this isn't right, you people don't send me damn screenshots of ChatGPT. But that when you have two front sides of the brain, one is mostly unused for us, but on the left or right, I don't know which one, controls like your motor movements. And but the problem is both cannot be strong at the same time. When one is more prominent, the other gets diminished. So she thinks that the other side of the brain is what controls like telepathic abilities and some of the things that we would say is impossible, some of the things that we would say are strange or out of this world or esoteric. And she's saying that those things, those nonverbal autistic kids can do stuff like that. They can like read your mind and do stuff like that. And I guess my question too is like, without droning on and on and on, I've I've already had my come to Jesus meeting to myself and and my family about organized religion. Um, I I'm gonna leave it there and just say that trust me, I get you. Like I get you. So, like, I mean, did you even talk to the church about it? Because I assumed they would have told you were batshit crazy, but you know.
They would just respond because I talked to a few church leaders because I was starting to be able to do things that were absolutely supernatural.
Hmm.
And I was dabbling in stuff that is like you read about in the Bible. Not dabbling as in like, I'm trying witchcraft. It's like my
Right.
body had these skills that are fucking supernatural. And I didn't know what the fuck to do with this. So I was like, I'll go to the church. And I would talk to them. Some people wouldn't say anything back. Some people would just be like, well, how does Jesus fit into this? Or you got to ask yourself, what does this mean in your relationship with eternity and Jesus? You know, they
Mm.
had a script.
Yeah.
Um, because I was doing stuff that just absolutely miraculous. And I would try to talk to people about it. One dude was on the phone. He's like, he starts screaming at me when I told him what I was doing. He's like, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And I was just like, okay, cool. But I can still do it.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and so yeah, like organized religion, they had no concept for it because anything outside of their dogma is satanic.
Right. I was about to say
It's
that.
like, oh, you wear a crystal? That's satanic.
Yep.
Um, the creator of the universe made crystals. Thank you very much.
Right.
You know, it's like, so how do you deal with that? Um, and during this period of time, I started wearing crystals. I
Yeah.
started, and you were talking about people, there's like this unifying field of information that you can tap into, and everything's a frequency. And you know how people have ideas that comes from somewhere. There's
Mhm.
a frequency that we can tap into when we're seeking. And so I would be driving along and all of a sudden I would get this massive amount of knowledge dumped into my brain. And there's no time or space inside the brain. So a massive amount of information could be put in and I could understand the whole concept in a split second. It's like,
Wow.
oh, that all makes sense. But then there's volumes to it. And later I would sit back and start thinking about it. I'm like, this is going to take months to decompress because every couple of days I would get new amounts of information put in my brain, just shit tons. And it's taken years. Like I'm still like getting grounded in reality of what to share and what not to share. And I am incorporating that knowledge into my life. That's been the most transformative.
Mm.
Like everything that I was raised with was a lie. And then I didn't go to school for this stuff, but I got tons of knowledge. So there's this, I call it the unifying field where all information is out there. And when the universe or the creator is like, oh, it's the lenses are coming off, like you're going to see reality for what it is.
Yeah.
You can, I forgot who says it, but he puts it so well. It's like when you wake up, you get to see reality the way it is. It's like a certain set of glasses you get and you can't take them off.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
this is your new level of awareness. You can't go back. Um, and so I had to start incorporating that. And I realized that I was not the man that I needed to be. I was just a character. I was like a pinball, and life was a pinball machine. And the people around me were the little flippers.
Mhm.
Fucking do this, fucking do that, act this way, act that way. And basically got the message of like, you need to be the pinball machine and life the pinball, where you choose who you want to be
Right.
instead of conducting yourself how I, ooh, women think this is hot. I'll wear my hair like this. Women think this smells good. The Bible says dress this way. The Bible says talk like this. The military says a veteran's got to wear a flag everywhere and let everybody know. Um,
Yeah.
I'm in civilian world. I need to dress cool. I need to do like all this shit that I had been trying to act and perform to keep these systems happy to accept
Yeah.
me. And I was like, ooh, I don't have to do all that. Like I
Mhm.
was a performing monkey. Like I'm in a zoo. I want to give you a concept and people listening. We are in a human zoo. Humans are the most trainable species on planet Earth. At birth, your autonomy is taken away, you're given a number, and you're trained. You're sent to school to sit there. For boys, it's the opposite of what our internal system is wired for. You're being trained to conform to play a role in a zoo that's self sustaining by the people in the zoo. Um, and when you wake up to that, it's a bit of a nightmare, but then you become free to start doing what you want to do and being the person you want to be. So I had to start changing because my brain believed a certain way and was programmed a certain way. And it rejected the truth of my awakening, of my knowledge. My spirit had all this knowledge, and my brain was like, nope,
Mhm.
you're going to hell now. Religion says this. Nope, you can't believe that because people will think differently about you.
Yeah.
You can't wear crystals. You can't burn sage outside. They'll see that. They'll think you're weird. And I started realizing that all of my behavior was based on what I thought other people wanted.
Right. Right. Off of
And
their perception.
so my brain was programmed that way. So I started down that journey of like to be to be the man that I saw in my vision, to fulfill that vision, I have to change completely.
So
Absolutely.
the vision of the future, did you see yourself in the future?
One of them I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Um,
Interesting.
it 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 was life altering.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's funny, like people read the Bible and they're all cool about people in the Bible having visions. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But when you in this day and age say something supernatural, they're like, "Eh."
Well, you brought up the Bible a couple times, so I guess I'll get into it a little
Yeah.
bit. I gotta dip my toe in this conversation because I'm genuinely interested. Um, One of the things that I've went through, and listeners, don't send me your emails. I've researched this extensively. Is I've always wanted to understand why the Book of Enoch was taken out of the Bible. And when you if you've I don't know if you've ever read Enoch.
It's on my reading list because
Okay, so
you're
it,
hitting
it
on a great topic.
yeah, it is it the listen, I am at a conundrum with the Bible because I don't no more do I wholeheartedly agree with organized religion because religion isn't the industry that it is today, right? Just like Christmas was never supposed to be the buy everybody shit because capitalism wins every time holiday that it is today, right? So but the problem is you can't ignore the fact that when they dug up the Dead Sea Scrolls, that there are books of the Bible that to the letter are accurate. And that is a problem because you say, well, man's mucked it up all these years. But I don't think that it was more man mucked it up more than I think man misinterpreted the Bible. And then on top of that, you look at books like Enoch that were took out because they're like, oh, hold up, motherfucker. This
Because
shit
that's in the
is
narrative.
yeah, exactly. You can't put that in there. So I haven't read all of it. I've read the entire Bible through years and years ago. I grew up Pentecostal. I get it. I went to church 3 times a week for 18 years. I understand. So my thing is like when I finally took a step back and looked at it was someone is lying and who is lying. But it's also that thing where you go through that where you're like, because my wife has an extensive crystal collection, extensive, very extensive, and
Right
she
on.
will put them in my pocket, put them next to the bed. There's certain ones that yep, there you go, you got one on you. So, but if you mention that to another Protestant, they'll be like, "Oh, that's demonic," or that's blah blah blah. So me and my wife, and luckily our marriage has always been the we don't give a fuck what anybody else says about us attitude. So this was easily incorporated when we came back to the South and everyone goes to church and they're like, oh well, they do some weird hippie shit. They just blame it on hippie shit from California, but we're like, well, if you were to sit down and have a conversation with us, it isn't hippie shit. But yeah, so, like, I get what you're saying when you're like, you go through this where you're like, "Well, what will people think?" And you finally have to adopt this attitude that goes, "I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks because this is my life. And you know what? If I'm wrong and I burn in the pits of hell for this, whatever." Like, it's like, but I still believe in something. I know there's something out there. I know because I've experienced supernatural things that is it just that we've misinterpreted the supernatural so much that it has we turned it into religion, but it really is like you said, it's something, but it's not what we think it is. And Rogan has a great point that, and I hate to bring up Rogan again, but Rogan had a great point talking to this lady that he said, and he's like, sometimes I believe, and I thought this was pretty profound that. Like the people, me and my employee talk about this at work all the time. Who invent shit, right? Who just decided one day, and Rogan's point is like, you know what? The steam engine. Super it's simple, but it's still complicated. The Egyptians, I mean, I'm not even gonna go to modern technology. Let's just keep going backwards, right? Like all this stuff, who just comes wakes up one day and goes, you know what? Yep, fuck it. Geometry, right? Like it's and Rogan said that he believes that people just put this in people's brains. It's a knowledge dump. And so yeah, anyway, sorry, I'm rambling on about that. But like that, yeah, that's where I'm at, man. Like so.
We just got into a 4-hour conversation.
Yeah.
Like, this is, like, my bread and butter, what I live for now, like,
Yeah.
these conversations. Yeah, like, there's this book called Think and Grow Rich,
Mm,
and it was written many years ago. Forgot the dude's name. But there's this one chapter in there where one of these industry leaders from the industrial era, he would go into a room by himself and meditate. And then he would wait for ideas to come to him. And then he'd sit for hours and write and hours.
wow.
When we're seeking, the information's there. If we are a vessel that will bring it into this reality for humanity, the knowledge will be given to us.
Okay, I
Because,
have real quick question.
yeah,
And this is it's only just to set this up because I know you're gonna go with this, but I just have a quick question. Before this spiritual awakening, and this is just a selfish question of mine. Before this spiritual awakening, were you an idea guy? So like let's say, for example, no, I'm not just talking about general ideas. I'm talking about like creative stuff. Like, could I give you a block of wood and you could shape it? Because I can tell you right now, you can give me a block of wood and I could be like, I'm gonna make a fucking duck out of this thing. And you know what? It's not gonna look anything like a duck when I'm done with it. But like but if you give me plans to build, like, step by step, oh, I got you. Like, I can repeat ideas that have already been created from the ether, but I
mhm.
can't create anything out of space. So I guess my question is like, was there a difference before and after this transition?
It kind of gave me a lens on like my abilities more. I'm a figure outer. Like, I see things and my brain puts them together, or I
Right.
have an image of what I want to make and I can make it.
Okay.
Um, so I'm very, very creative, like
Okay. Okay.
very creative. Um, and it's tough having ideas with no network. And
Yeah.
like, I need people to like, I've had this great tactical gear app I created like a long time ago and I've still been working on it recently. And, it's like, how do I meet people in the tactical realm that I could talk to show this to? Because it's transformative for the whole tactical industry. Like, it
Mm.
would literally shift and adjust it to bring them into the technological era.
Okay.
Anyway,
Don't forget
I
that.
digress.
Don't forget that after this podcast, because I got it. I got someone. I'm ex, bro. I got contacts. So yeah,
Real.
he makes tactical gear. Like he has a small company that makes American made like flak jackets and shit. So yeah.
I have a concept that's
Okay.
freaking
Yeah.
that's badass.
We'll get it out to this. Just message me later on, and I'll forward him your contact
I
information.
just got
So
excited, dude.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
But like, so you're. I mean, you're getting this data. You're getting it. So what makes you start the 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 program? Like, is it your goal with Uncivilized Rebirth that you can make other people think this way? And have you done that? I mean, like, have you successfully converted someone to the spirit realm or
Oh,
whatever?
let me
Yeah, no, go ahead.
get into
Yeah.
this a little bit. It's not a conversion. It's
Okay.
not a
Alright.
religion. It's not a like, bro, it's like
Yeah.
David Koresh here. It's like none of that shit. It's not like, it's like,
David Koresh.
um,
Nice.
it's so check this out. I realized that after my spiritual awakening, like I was full on for 3 months and then everything turned off. And then it was
What?
like, you've been given us all this information. You must do something with it.
Mm.
So I had to start reprogramming my mind to be the person that I needed to be to fulfill my vision that I was
Mhm.
given. So in the vision, I was shown this like massive facility, and I was shown every different level, how it operates. And it was like I felt like I was a drone going around, shown how in processing works, how people get incorporated there, what they're there for. And it's basically a healing place for veterans. And then I pulled back and I'm like, well, what is being delivered there? And I started asking that. It's like, there has to be some recipe to be delivered. This is the magic part. So I start like figuring out like this. I'm like, how do I change myself? Like, how do I reprogram my brain to be the character basically that I need to be?
Mhm.
Um, because you know how a spy, they can pick up and drop mannerisms, different accents. They can change their character at will.
Right.
They have a different level of awareness of their actions and behavior. But that's how us as humans, we can change our behaviors.
Mhm.
But we do that enough and that becomes wired in. That's the same with our thought process is a wiring. This is how this brain thinks. And so I would get these intuitive leads of like research symbology, research this, research that. And so I'd research until I'd find what I'm looking for. Then I'm like, got it. I don't need to spend 10 years studying this subject because it's like, when you watch a YouTube video to do one tiny thing and the dude's like talking all this shit, you're like, shut the fuck up. Tell me how to
Yeah.
turn the GD screw.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
20 minutes in, he's like, and then you do this. Got it. God.
Fucking asshole.
And you're like, fuck. Got it. Finally.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. Like I'd start researching these things and I'd find that tidbit I needed and I'd be done.
Right.
And I did this in a bunch of different areas. And I was learning how to develop this thing called the character trigger, which is a
Okay.
multifaceted tool that a person creates to trigger the character they want to be. And so, you know how like things will trigger you to get scared or trigger a reaction or trigger an old thought process or a word process. Something happens, you're like, fuck, shit, damn, damn. And your wife's like,
Yeah.
where'd that come from? Oh, sorry. It's a programming in your brain that was triggered by external stimuli.
Mhm.
But this goes in and it sets up a trigger where you trigger the highest version of yourself that you create. And so in this, there's even deeper work that was revealed to me. It's like, oh, try this. I'm like, ooh, I'll do that. It'd basically be shown to me in my brain how to start organizing my thoughts, how to process painful memories, because our brain is a history book of our life.
Mhm.
Well, let me take that back. Our brain is a biomechanical processing unit. Our soul is plugged into it. And we have this like like our memories aren't stored in our brain, it's in the ether, like in the mind, because you have the brain and then the mind. They're two. One is etherical, I guess you'd say, and then
Mhm.
one is the three-dimensional. So your memories are stored there. That's why they're accessed so fast. It's like faster than a computer.
Right.
Not it's not like a function of like in a computer. It's like so fast. But you can organize that with thought processes where you start thinking a certain way and then your brain starts following and copying that. And so it's not to convert anybody, it's to get their soul in charge of their brain, to be
Mm.
in charge of what triggers them, to be in charge of how they view their history book, and be in charge how they file new memories, and be in charge of that identity that they want to live in. Because so much of our identity is based in systems and structures like the military,
Mhm.
religion, marriage, a biker gang. I got my cut.
Capitalism. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like they're loud and they're
So,
proud.
is this basically like you can so you c as a so, like, I just give an example here, and you tell me whether I'm on the right track or not. So, like, you have a memory, right? A hurtful memory, and when you bring that memory up, the body's natural triggered reaction is remorse, guilt, name them off, the things that could be a possibility. So you're saying you're basically reprogramming the way that you see that, or the way you're triggered by that memory. So you can see that memory's not gone, but you don't feel the remorse, the guilt, the whatever. Yeah.
So check this out. A memory is like in the etherical realm is like a cassette tape or a DVD.
Okay.
It's a file and it
Mm,
has metadata. The metadata is your identity, those emotions, um, that stuff that populates. All of a
right.
sudden you remember it, you feel bad. You feel like that hurt little boy, or you feel guilty again. That's the metadata that's being told to play in your system.
Hmm.
So it's like it pulls out and the brain sees it. It's like, okay, activate this process of this in the nervous system, activate this emotion, activate this identity. And so all that stuff starts activating in the brain. It's like a
Hmm.
sheet of music for a player piano, but it pulls out. But what you do is you build the character trigger. That takes about 3 weeks. And then you go in and you build the mental library. That's the mental space. It's like an operating system inside your brain. Then what you do is it's a more in depth process, but basically you have your character trigger and then your mental library, and you're pulling up an old memory, and then you turn it into a lower level data format. So let's say you take a movie from an IMAX theater and it's like, bah, fucking overwhelming, and you turn it to words on a paper,
Yeah.
whole different experience. So as you're doing this and you're downgrading the coding on this, you're putting in new metadata in this memory that's associated with the painful memory. The metadata now is a calm nervous system because you train a certain breath work in creating the character trigger. You have your character populated, which you're in that. So the new metadata is going to populate the new character you've created. And then when you access this memory, you're accessing the most powerful version of yourself now.
Right. Yeah.
And you're triggering a calm nervous system, a calm state of mind. And it is going in there and you have this operating system, the mental library. And now your awareness is seeing that this is a memory.
Hmm.
Because when those painful memories comes up, it's like the IMAX going on there. It's like, this
Right.
is fucking real. But no, it's like, hey, here's this, here's your awareness. and here's where we're going to do the work on it.
Right.
And so then you get this separation of this is a historical event,
Right.
and I'm changing the way the file is accessed, and I'm changing the metadata in the file. And you work this process till it gets to the point where you no longer have to actively do this. Your brain does it automatically.
Right.
It automatically processes them.
So then you can access the memory and you're like, it's fine. Right. So
Yes.
I do got two questions, but I'm going to ask them one at a time. When you're working on doing this process, I know you might not want to give, um, but I know it's an in-depth process, so it may be a little more complicated than this. But like when you're doing this, are you doing this like in meditation? Is this like a meditation thing?
I don't use that word,
Okay, all right,
but
cool.
because it's just sounds.
Oh,
The goal is to control where the energy is going in your mind because they're energy impulses going down your neural pathways.
hmm,
And you have a creative center that can create images, and it takes energy to create those images in your mind. So, what you're doing is you're learning to control your energy, control your brain, and you're in a calm state of mind. You do breath work to take over your nervous system and calm
got you.
everything. And you learn about energy also. So I don't even use the word meditation just for the fact that it's been so associated with other stuff. Like
Right.
it's a state of mind and it's a level of control in the mind.
So you have
Um,
to get. You're talking about basically doing breath work to get to that state of mind to do the work.
yes, to
Okay.
get to a clean palate, a
Right.
clean slate. Like,
Interesting.
let's get everything calmed down in here. It's like you went into a library that got the windows busted open from a tornado and shit's everywhere. And you're like, all right, let's just get really calm and cool. And we're going to slowly start picking things up and moving them around.
Yeah. Just
And,
start.
and if it's like a Harry Potter library where magic books just pop up in your face, that's
Right.
what your brain is like. It's like, oh, this memory, this memory. It's like, let's chill
So
out.
what's your opinion on there's guys who struggle a lot with things they've seen overseas. There's guys who don't. But, there there have been some theories that I've read about that. I'm not going to talk about them here, but uh, you know, so what I mean, what's your opinion on is some people's minds just more able to handle the trauma and some people's are not? Because some people have seen some crazy shit and their nervous system is not shot. They can explain to you what happened in Fallujah and be like, man, we stepped on them dead bodies, cool as a cucumber. And they just have learned to be at peace with it. So I guess my question is like, is there any do you have any theory of why some people suffer with the trauma and some people don't? I know that's kind of an odd question, but
Oh, no, that's a beautiful question. So everybody's a little different, but in my understanding and my experience, there was a little wounded boy that I drug through war
mm,
because we get stopped with maturity when we're wounded as a child. And a lot of people in the military had trauma as a child
that's right.
and they're going to be tough, and they're going to serve their country or get away
Hmm.
or to become somebody they'd be proud of. But there's this trauma sometimes, it's not for everybody. So let's say somebody's psyche when they're like 3, 7, 8, they're hurt. They're
Yeah,
traumatized as a kid. And then that's ignored and it's buried. Well, there's this certain part of their psyche that's locked in at that age completely. You know, when
Mm.
you have, like, grown men still loving action figures and it's, like, all about Legos and they're stuck in, like, this childlike phase, that and I was in that for a long time and still until I got freed up from it. And so there's this part of the psyche that's still a child. They go to war and they're dragging a little kid through war internally. And so that kid is just like, fuck, like just terrified,
Right.
can't take it and just can't stand it. And so when that memory comes up, it's just like, fuff, 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 fuff. It's like, it's so incredibly painful. Whereas somebody that has matured properly over time and didn't go through that wounding or did the work to make it through that and heal up, then their tree that I basically say like somebody's like a tree and they're maturing to a strong oak, then they can handle these storms. But when there's this tether, how a tree has like a little rope around it to hold it from the winds and maybe
Mhm.
wrapped around it. If those things are never taken off, it constricts the growth and it warps that growth. So it's not able to handle the storms. So there's a part of the person that's warped and stuck as a child. And so when they think about these memories, the other memories from their childhood were probably maybe they might have been repressed or just blocked or just never thought about or ignored or they've run from it. So they're using the same coping mechanisms for this new event to
Mm.
escape it, ignore it, or repress it. And then when it comes time to tell a story or talk about it, it's just this memory that gets pulled out with this metadata that's like activate everything because that painful memory is attached to these other painful memories, but you don't even know you need to deal with this stuff.
Yeah.
And so then it's just amplified to this like quivering lip, tears and like just hurts your heart. And I think those are for people that are really kind hearted, really connected to their heart. It hurts them. And a little kid is like, their hearts are wide open. They
Mhm.
can make best friends because they have the same shoelaces. It's like,
Yeah.
want to be best friends? And so it's like this little kid with an open heart was drugged through war and it terrifies and torments them. And so it's not because something's wrong. It's just that their heart can't take that pain and that suffering. Um, and there might be this aspect that they haven't went in and did a deep dive on themselves and brought up to date and let it grow into that mature oak tree that can handle these storms.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's kind of my thought process on that.
Dude, that was a I mean, I could have said it in the beginning, but like, I mean, you nailed it. I mean, that the study is that childhood trauma, unresolved childhood trauma, it leads to a higher rate of 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 PTSD. That was the study I read, and I've always found it fascinating. I found it fascinating one because I've been keeping track on this podcast as much as I can on dudes who said they had PTSD, and the listeners might not know, but I have that tally, and I can tell you it's heavily weighted on the childhood trauma side. And not everybody admitted that on the podcast, but I have, I've talked offline to some of these guys, and that, you know, there, I have a family member that they dealt with a lot of stuff in their childhood, and they were a very vindictive person for a long time, and they were a person that could not have good relationships with other people until they solved that. And what that person told me was they found out that they could not love anybody until they loved themselves. And it was going back in time and relitigating that, and maybe the people that did that trauma against you, maybe they don't give a fuck. And that can happen. But in this case, that person talked it out. And some people don't ever get closure, but it doesn't matter if you get closure. It matters when you just confront it and you say, okay, I have moved past this, right? Like I see the damage, I see how it affects me, I see how it affects my relationships with other people, and then boom. But you beautiful answer, man, talking about how that just transitions over, man. So like you never resolved any of that. And then it's just like, well, now let's just add all this shit from Iraq on there. Like, well, put it on, baby. You know what I mean? And then you end up, yeah, it's beautiful, dude. I love it. I love it.
And in my work, it's embodying the highest version of yourself, the healed version,
Mm,
and valid and using that identity when you're looking at these memories and
mhm,
validating everything in there and validating those emotions, validating the torment, validating and basically just turning this story into a PowerPoint. You know, when Batman has his character arc and he
mhm.
becomes Batman, it came through trauma.
Right.
He could have become a victim and a shut in and be like, I'm going to live in the Wayne Manor. Fuck the world. I'm a billionaire. Boom.
Yeah.
No, he took that and we can take that and become our own hero. And
Right.
we go in and it's like you're saying, like, we must embrace those memories. It's our history. But the problem with modern day therapy, they pull it back up and you pull up that metadata of that old identity. You're not changing the identity that populates with that memory any, but this does. You're going into that memory, you're validating every part of it, and you're turning it into your PowerPoint. Not
Right.
PowerPoint like 10 slides later, your eyes are bleeding, but your pivotal point of power of, yes, like this person was evil as fuck. You'll never get closure. You'll never get justice, but they didn't know who the fuck you'd become. They
Mhm.
didn't know who the fuck they were dealing with because most people that would go through this, it would break them, but it didn't break you. It was just revealing how fucking strong you were and how strong you are. Um, because our history in our brain is like we have these chapters or these books on our desk that we don't want to read and they get shoved in front of us. And it's like, I want to close this book and never look at it. But then there's certain words, smells, sights. These have energetic tethers to those books and those chapters that we try to repress when we pull it up. And we're like, fuck. But, or the IMAX movie in our mind.
Mhm.
But we're going in and we're changing all that. And it's like, this is no longer living in the past because every time we pull it up, like we get pulled back into the past and we're not in the present. We're not thinking in the future. We're not seeing literally how powerful that made us, like legitimately. Because it's like your soul was never wounded. It is your history book that's a little fucked up and it has some painful stories in it. But those stories just reveal how freaking powerful you are. And this is
I
for other people listening.
I was gonna ask, like, do you think that do you think that adversity makes us stronger? I say that all the time. Like, I feel like part of the reason that I can go through life and be like, yeah, this sucks, but it doesn't suck as bad as that sucked. Like, so, like, do you still have the simple belief that that adversity is what makes you that strong person?
This is a multi-layered answer. An oak tree can't be strong without the storms,
Mm.
but every storm it's gone through has prepared it for the one it's about to go through.
Interesting.
So when we go through a major event, it's to strengthen us.
Mhm.
And then when we go through the storm, we just have to look back at what we've been through of those other painful storms and look at the wisdom from it, not the event, but what was the lesson learned here? This is getting a little bit into esoteric stuff. It's like, what is the lesson here that I learned that I can apply in this new storm
Mhm.
just to show y'all how goddamn strong I am? Fuck you, motherfuckers. Here we go again.
Right.
And yes, I believe that those things we go through are also lessons we have to learn, and we'll repeat them until we learn the lesson and navigate that event with the wisdom. Then we're doomed to repeat it. And the thing about breaking those cycles is we won't pass it on to our kids. They will see now, here's the piece of wisdom I need to navigate this storm, or here's this piece of wisdom I need to change how I act in this situation. So I won't act the way my father acted. And then I
Mhm.
won't pass that on to my child acting the way my dad acted. Generational trauma breaking.
Right.
I
Right.
just went off rabbit trail there. That could have
No,
been
no, no,
a
no,
whole
no,
answer.
no, dude, like, I was about to ask you if you believed that I was about to ask you if you ever well, I ain't gonna ask you if you believed it, but have you ever heard the theory that, like, you get reincarnated until you learn a lesson? Or
100%.
okay, yeah, because I've heard the theory that, like, okay, you reincarnate, you live all these lives, but, like, the problem is I've always asked the question of, if you reincarnate, but you have no previous memory of the reincarnation, then how the hell do you learn the lesson? Or are we just flipping a coin hoping that we learn the lesson on this reincarnation to get to the next level, or whatnot?
Okay, now we're going to get in a little bit of the spiritual realm. Not everybody wakes up. Some people are seekers, and some people choose to just live in the blindfolds and they just do what they're told. They don't seek for more. They're not like, well, I've heard of this. I wonder if I do need to do something different. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to do more or learn something here. Um, and there are things to learn. And then when you wake up to that, like, um, it's because you have a soul mission. And
Mhm,
it's like sometimes if you look at it from an aspect of karma, in another life you were just a really fucking horrible person, you have a lot of debt to pay off to the universe basically. It's like to be
mhm,
this best version of you, to do this amazing thing in life, you have to pay this debt for this.
mhm.
You have to learn not to be this way again. If you're going to have this role in this lifetime, like you can't repeat that. And so waking up, and I would say encourage other people to do research of what other people's experiences are too, but like waking up to your past life experiences is very difficult because you get lost in what's here, what's this lifetime, what's another lifetime.
Mm,
Like I said, I'm really restrictive now on what I share,
yeah,
but when you start reliving past lifetimes, you're getting memories back of you, and that's confusing because
mm,
you're you playing a different character. And then this other lifetime comes up and you're like,
I didn't fucking
what,
do that. Yeah,
what's
yeah.
like, I'm here and I'm there, but I know I'm here.
Right.
And I have these memories, but I'm this, I like, what?
That's wild.
It,
That's wild.
it was wild. That was like a month long thing. Um, but yeah, I believe there are lessons that have to be learned. And it's through these situations we go through in life. It's like, are you going to navigate it this time? Are you going to learn the lesson? Are you going to rise above? And some of that is like the childishness we carry on to into adulthood of like, I'm going to get them back with my words. I'm going to get them back with this, or I'm just
Right.
going to hold on to this anger and this, I'm just going to cling on to this just pain and suffering and trying to get people back. And
You know, I I had this conversation with my wife. I don't remember if it was today or yesterday, but we were talking about something and I was like, I we were talking about how like we talk about like we I like I have conversations with people that are very in depth, very you know what I mean, like this, right? But I'm very self-aware. Like I know now what I did wrong in the past. I like see my life. and I told we were talking about it, and she was like, "There's no way he didn't know." We were talking about somebody, and she was like, "There's no way he, like, doesn't know that he's being an asshole." And I was like, "Honestly, I really think that there are people that go through their entire lives and they never see themselves from like the 100-foot view above. And they never realize like the selfish shit they did. And it sounds crazy when you tell people like, oh, you haven't woken up. But like when I look back at it now, I'm like, "Yeah, I did because I see myself for who I was, and I'm a completely different person than I used to be. And I think that it doesn't have to be weird. Like people don't have to be like, "Oh, this dude smoked way too much weed. I'm going to pass on this episode." Like like I feel you like when you say that like you have a revelation and maybe it's not quite what you experienced, but like a revelation of through my life that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm very self aware. Like I understand the trauma. I understand where it's coming from. I understand where to put it. You know what I mean? But I think there's people that go through their life that they never fucking experience that. I really do.
And this is a subject that I don't know the absolute answer on, but where some people say people are NPCs or
Oh yeah, yeah.
they are literally just living a program. They have been programmed and the ego guides everything and
Yeah.
they have no self awareness
Yeah.
and they do stuff that hurts people. They do stuff that hurts themselves. They have thought patterns, but there's nothing deeper than that. Like
Right.
it can't get any deeper because they're locked in this surface level. And I don't know if some people are just permanently locked in because I've seen people that I'm like, I don't think a soul is attached to them anymore.
Mm,
Honestly, I believe that. And so it's like they're just being run by like this AI in the brain almost
yeah.
that's like been programmed and then let loose. And so, yeah, I completely agree. Like some people have literally no self awareness of what they're doing to other people.
Yeah.
And that comes from their environment, what they were raised in, where people did things to them, totally invalidate it, never address their emotions, and
Mm,
just was like, this is the way it is. And so then they were imprinted upon, and then they went out and they present that way in the world and navigate it with no depth, just this shallow shell. And that if you break past that shell, they crash out, like
yeah.
because they don't want to be seen. And that goes back to childhood.
Yeah. Dude, I think, man, yeah, that's I mean, I feel like I don't know how better to say it. I mean, that's great. Like, and I mean, yeah, you could get into all kinds of crazy theories where you talk about like, is this a simulation? Are they NPCs? But you could also say that like that's nature versus nurture, right? Like you're talking about your childhood. Very like my approach to parenting is wildly different than my parents. Wildly for multiple reasons. Emotional, physical, many, 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 many different reasons. Like I tell my girls I love them every chance I get because I never want you to grow up and have daddy issues because your dad doesn't fucking love you. Because that ain't happening in this house. Like, you know what I mean? And it it yeah, and I like, but I run into a lot of people that are like us where they're in touch, right? But then, bro, I've ran across quite a few NPCs out there and I'm just like, that person is so skin deep, it is insane. But to bring it all home, because we got to get out of here. Um, there's no possible way that you are going to fix the trauma that you built overseas or that the trauma that you experienced as a child or trauma that you experienced anywhere in life by being skin deep. It will never happen. There is no amount of therapy. You have to see it for what it is. Like there has to be a mental switch. And you're saying that you can basically help somebody get there, right? So you've got this program. So I want you to kind of talk about like, so you've got like, do you got like step by step process that people can do?
Yes.
Okay.
It's it's a process broken down where it's like you learn in phases.
Okay.
You don't get to see ahead what's coming up. Learn this part, put this together, and then start building on this, and everything builds up and builds up. So it's like a structured system where you go through and you start building a new version of yourself, a new identity.
Mhm.
Um, and then you start building a framework inside your mind to process the past, to lock into the future, and to be present and aware. And so it's very humbly stated, yes, it is this. I've been reaching out to many colleges and professors and PhDs, and they don't want to hear from somebody that doesn't have any collegiate um, no letters beside his name.
Such bullshit.
So, um,
Now,
yeah, it's
do
a
you
powerful
have
program.
any do you have any and I don't mean to put you on the spot, like, but do you have any case studies where you've had, like, a friend that has, like, done this and they've been like, "Yeah, yeah, this works."
Right now is I've used it on myself, and I have
Okay.
one gentleman going through it currently.
Okay. Okay.
And so
Okay.
the reason why I believe in it so emphatically is because I've changed so much internally.
Okay. So,
And
question, where can people, if they wanted to find this, do they need to message you or do you have, like, a course set up? How does that work?
so I just started charging, which was a big thing to get through. Um, but on the school platform, you search for Uncivilized Rebirth, and it's Uncivilized Rebirth. Join the community for free. And I just started charging, and I wish I had more money that I could do it for free. But the first 3 weeks is like a whole bunch of coaching sessions,
Mm,
like 6 coaching sessions or something, because I'm there with you every step of the way. And I'm teaching you, making sure you're learning this stuff, giving you PDFs to like follow these protocols. Um, and yeah, like my heart though is like I just don't want to charge for it. But
yeah, I
it's
feel
for
you.
$97 a month, there's a lot of value delivered,
Yeah.
a lot of value. Um, but then there's something I wanted to touch on earlier, what you were talking about to people, like you have to go in and you have to embrace those memories and go through that. You can't go through at a surface level and ever expect to heal. You have to go inwards. But if somebody is actually seeking healing now, like seek a healer. Don't seek just a therapist or just somebody that's like, I heard this guy was a good guy to go to, you know, seek somebody that cares, that understands, and find out if the people are long term or short term.
Right.
Try to talk to the people that have been going to them because some people want to keep you in there for years. I've heard people like, I've been going to a therapist for 10 years. It's like, that's not a healer.
Right.
Um, but my passion now is to help other people.
So
It's like my drive.
your program is like, look, yeah, you're like, look, yeah, like obviously this is a very hands-on thing for you. So like you're putting a lot of time and effort. You're like, okay, yeah, I hate to say I gotta charge. I mean, look, man, charge for what the time's worth. And obviously it's very hands-on. But you're basically saying, look, yeah, yeah, okay, it may cost this much a month, but it's not gonna last forever. Like, I'm gonna get you where you need to be, and then you're out. You're done. Yeah, like
Yes.
yeah. Okay,
That is the freaking goal, to
okay.
get your brain organized and your
Yeah,
soul in charge, and then you move out.
you're out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not a forever, "Well, yeah, yeah, well, pay me $300 a month, and I'm gonna ask you, how do you feel about that?" Like, like, look, man, I'm guilty of that. I see a counselor, but at this point I just go in there once a month and I'm like, look, this is the bullshit that's going on in my life. And every once in a while, this person will say, look, you're too hard on yourself. they'll say like, "You're an asshole for that." I have a very good relationship with this person, and honestly, since I don't have any friends, this is just one person for me to talk to. It's not my wife, right? So for me, and I don't pay any money for it, it's fine. But like, I see what you're saying when you're like, okay, yes, I'm going to go to this therapist or this counselor or this psychologist. They're going to fix this problem. And here you are 9, 10, 11, 12, 18 months later. And the problem may be better only because you're talking about it, because you're putting it out there and you're what is it called? Desensitizing yourself to the situation. But at the end of the day, the root cause is not fixed. And you're basically saying, look, I can help with the root cause. We can read metadata. Oh, for those of you non-computer listeners, metadata is the data that when you take a photo on your phone, it gives the date, where the location, if it's geotagged. You don't see that information, but it's attached to the photo somehow in computer mumbo jumbo. So yeah, you're basically saying, look, I can give you we can fix this. Oh, and by the way, school, when you say school, school is like a website I've seen it advertised. It's SKOOL.
Yes.
So if you Google that, SKOOL, and then search for Uncivilized Rebirth, they should find you. So yeah, man, like I mean, I had a last question, but I don't even think I'm gonna ask it. I mean, like obviously the answer is if if you got problems, check this out. Like, I mean, like, I mean, I was gonna ask you, like, if a guy's going through it, what advice you give him? Well, obviously, the if it's bad enough, like, go check this program out, guys. Like, I think this is worth looking at.
Could I answer that question though?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you're
yeah, go
going
ahead.
through a tough time right now, get a piece of paper and write down all your skills, every stupid skill you have, changing a tire, like stripping a gun clean, mopping the floor, cleaning a toilet, talking to somebody. Write out every skill you know you have.
Mhm.
Then clean your fucking room and do your laundry every day. Drink water, check your mail, take your goddamn trash out, keep your living quarters squared away. Life sucks right now, but everything you went through is prepared for you for where you are right now. But keep your bed made. Do
Mm,
all the small tasks every day. Write that shit down and do it. Check it off at night. Stay focused and just don't fucking quit. But everything you've been through has prepared you for where you are right now. And that's for somebody that's in it right now. Just
mm.
fucking fight with the details.
I like that. I like that. I like that. Yeah, because it's like, if you're gonna get the help, it's not gonna happen right now. It's not gonna happen right now. Like,
Yep.
they could be listening to this. They're not gonna get fixed 10 seconds from now. Yeah,
Nope.
that's a great point, man. Like, it's just you just gotta you gotta push. And we all know that feeling. Like, if you're listening to this and you're in that, you've been in it. You've been in the 36-hour react that we were supposed to be on rest. This firefight happened, or this happened, or I've been in training and this happened, and we've been up for 3 days, and we gotta fucking push through it. Like, we've all been there, and so yeah, you're right, man. Like, you just gotta keep going. But I would recommend anybody that still has any lingering trauma or just wants to check this out to go look at this. I see your videos on Facebook. I hardly get on Facebook anymore. Dude, you got to get on X. But anyway,
What's X?
X.com. It's Elon's. It used to be Twitter.
Oh,
Yeah, but X is so much more cooler than Facebook. I got X Premium. I pay $20 a month, so I get the better version of Grok. I also get less ads on the feed, and dude, it's just normal fucking people. And like, I have got in with like the gun community and the veteran community, and like I'm not like one of the guys, but you follow enough of the bigger pages, you start to see the relationships, and and yeah, dude, it's great. And
I've gained no traction on Facebook at all. Nothing. It's dead.
it it's hard. and it's hard on X too. Like even I don't have a lot of traction, but I mean, I did have this random guy tell me like the other day. He was like, "Hey, this guy's a veteran. Follow his page," and he posted my page, and I got like 200 followers in like 24 hours. It was insane. But like, I still don't feel like I have a lot of traction. The podcast is the slowest growing fucking thing in the world, but it does grow. It gets bigger every time. But like, yeah, like this is something worth looking into. Like, let's just say, and I just want to, I want to say this before we end. You don't have to agree with, like, let's say that you're a Christian, right? And you heard Paul over these last 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 27 seconds say all this shit, right? And you're like, you know what? Fuck that. That's demonic, right? Okay, let's say you say that, but what is you're not going to go to hell if his instructions are like, do some box breathing, reach into your soul, and take these memories and try to make yourself a higher version. There's literally nothing in there. You know what I'm saying? If you're struggling, there is no reason not to try this. It's not gonna be like God's gonna strike you dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if that
Yeah.
if that is the hang up of anybody that's listening to this, I just wanted to clear that because I was thinking about that and I was like, I hope somebody like fuck all the other esoteric stuff we said. This program, it has legs, man, and I'm about it, and I like it. I do. I really like it. You know, and for the record, I've never heard this until just now. We've talked a little bit offline, but I had no fucking clue what any of this was about. So I say it with fresh eyes that I think this is legit, and I think it has legs, bro, and I like it. So
Cool beans.
yeah, yeah, man, yeah. Yeah, so I just wanted to clear that up for anybody who was being facetious.
Yeah.
I think that's the right word, but probably not.
It's an easy thing to get hung up on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, so any last words on that, man? Like, I mean, anything on closing you want to say to the homies?
Uh, Thank you for having me on. And my mission in life is to help people, veterans, get squared away in their brain. That's what
Yeah,
I'm here for.
yeah, and that is a solid mission, and that's yeah. So I will put your profile in the show notes. I'll find the link to the school. I'll find it. I'll put
I
it
can
in
send it
there.
to you.
Okay, yeah, so you send it to me. So for those of you who are looking for the information, it'll be in the show notes. It'll be a direct link to the school stuff. And yeah, man, I really appreciate you having it. Uh um having the just the drive to put all this out there. You learned all this instead of keeping it to yourself. So you're like, you know what? I'm gonna share this. And that is an honorable thing to do, man. And yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, dude. And for the listeners, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad,
Yeah.
baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad, chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back, I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me, ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact, give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious, I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad.